Hi all my friends. I want to do this video that I mentioned that once I got back home I wanted to give my trip some thought, what it meant for me to do this trip. And so I'm gonna share gosh, there's just so many feelings. And especially if anybody is new to my channel, remember that I have disabilities and I have spinal issues. And then I also have arthritis in my hips and some other issues that, I deal with. And so it really was amazing for me to be able to do this journey, with these disabilities in this van as a single woman. So I am just overwhelmed with just incredible emotions of, that I did not let my disabilities rob me of, seeking after my dreams. And remember, that's what my channel is all about, is if all possible, even if you have disabilities, man or woman, but I do seem to attract a lot of the women out there, to seek after those dreams. Don't let them take away or rob you from going after, especially if you have a traveling dream and desire. And so that's what I did, and I am just so thankful that I did this journey. And it's just was an amazing journey for me. And so one of the things though that brought me incredible comfort is, as I started to take off, is that I did have two great mentors out there that I call, they were like my angel on, each side on my shoulder, that were with me, that were, a phone call away. And that meant everything to me. And so, so one of them was Sam, who was the one that I bought this vehicle from, the van, who bought it from Happily Houseless. So he was always there for me and as a phone call away, and he's retired, so he's very easy to also get a hold of. And there was things that definitely, that I wanted, to also get his advice from, and he's familiar with the van, and he had the van and stuff like that. And then of course there was my best friend out there, and I call him now my, my little bro, but he's my best friend. One of my, good friends is Lewis from Rolling Earthship, so he was there too for me. And so I don't know if I could have, I guess I could have done the trip without them, maybe, but I wouldn't want to even think that I could. I mean, I just am so thankful I didn't have to figure that out. I am so grateful to God and for them to be there with me during this journey, because there was times that I did have to lean on them to get me through some incidences that I had to go through. So it was just so cool for me to be able to know that they were there, but yet still I had to do everything to myself. Any obstacles that I came against, I did have to do, or figure things out too. Even with their help, I still had to do the actual physical labor, I wanted to mention one more thing before I go to the next clip, is that I mentioned about, how Lewis has been a really good friend to me and everything, and he's my best friend and everything for a while. But I knew him way long before I knew Sam, okay, before when I picked up the van. But now since this incident and everything, and picking up the van and the trip, I mean, definitely Sam has also been a really great friend too. So I mean, a lifelong friend. So I got two really good friends out of this incident too. So I feel really, really lucky, that yeah, and blast that this happened from this trip. So I just want to make sure I give Sam that credit. I mean, oh my gosh. So he's just been that mentor and that friend as well, besides Lewis. So I'm very fortunate, and I just wanted to make sure I gave that shout out to him. All right. Okay, like for one incident was, I learned you need to check your tires every, couple of days when you're on the road. And I wasn't doing that. And so when I was at Billard's campsite outside of Bandon, I had a flat tire at my campsite. It was low, and I checked the air. It wasn't flat, but it was low. I could tell it was low, and I had 45 pounds of pressure. So I was like, oh my gosh, and I checked it, and I have an air compressor with me, but I forgot how to put it together. So I had to call Sam, because I bought the van from Sam and the air compressor, so he knew how to put it together. So he helped me to figure it out, and I blew up the tire, and then, yeah, and then Lewis helped me by reminding me that, okay, you need to check your tires every couple of days. So as far as the maintenance part of it and having to do that, so yeah, there's incidents like that happened in my world, that I always had to, that I felt like I leaned on these guys to help me. So I am so thankful that they were there for me to get through this as an amateur, and so it brought definitely that comfort and peace as I went through this journey. But again, I still had to do a lot of the figuring out and labor part of it, and I had to do my dumping. I had to do, everything like that, and getting the ice and filling my ice up inside my ice chest and the physical stuff, and that came with it. So I'm, very glad and proud that I was able, to do that part of the trip, And so the other thing, it showed me that just getting out of my fear, fear can rob us from getting out there and trying to do the things out there, and so they can cripple us. And I always heard I can't remember who said it, there was someone who said, even if you try this lifestyle and you don't like it, you could always go back to the lifestyle you had before, but you'll never know if you don't try. So I'm so grateful that I tried this trip, and I went on this trip and did it, because I could always go back and do something different. But again, one of my lifelong dreams was to do the coast trip and go down and see the Redwoods. So it brought such incredible joy to finally get down and see the Redwoods and to experience that and to camp in it. And it was just an amazing ride, and I will never forget this trip, ever. So that was very, very, cool that I got to do that. And of course, as you know, I had to battle with Buster, though, so that was quite challenging as I'm nursing him along this journey that I never expected to have to do that. But it still showed me that even with obstacles, you just persevere, you just keep going, because there will be obstacles. Or like with Buster got worse around Labor Day, and so I just tried to keep working through the obstacles that I was hit against. And there are many obstacles that will come about when you're, also in a van or in any traveling vehicle. One of the greatest, I think, obstacles that I kept having, I don't know what it was, that I had this thing about water. I had so many water accidents. It seemed like one time I took off, and so I have this water thing here, and I took off and I forgot to secure it, and I usually secure it back in the corner. So I go to take off, and the water just went flying into the front, and so the cap wasn't on. So all of a sudden there's this gush and rush of water just spilling out into the front, and I'm thinking, where is this all coming from? And then I realized that the jug, I forgot to put it away. I mean, so it just seemed like I dropped my camera in the dog's water bowl, and you know, it just seemed like I was just always having these water accidents, you know. So it, you know, you just always, you know, expect you're going to have bumps along the road. One time I forgot to hook the bay storage. There's the bay storage of the van outside, but lucky I didn't drive very far. That was in Cannon Beach, so I went from the campsite over to the you know, parking area where you can see the Haystack Rock. So lucky I didn't take off and go very far, because if I would have been taken off on 101, the roads are curvy, and you know, I can imagine what could have happened. You know, if that happened, because I figured it out there at the parking lot, like, oh my gosh, I forgot to secure that storage, you know, thing. So I started to realize that, you know, I had to do my walkthroughs and remember my walkthroughs. And one time I didn't secure I believe that was what happened to my window over here, is I didn't secure it. And so I think it was flapping in the wind, and then so the little pin came loose, and I'm sure that's what caused that. And so then I had to make sure that now these are all latched. The door to the bathroom is latched, you know, because sometimes the doors swing open, like, oh no, I forgot to latch the door. So those are little things that you always have to remember, and you know, that we could cause. Make sure your water's put it away, do your walkthroughs, make sure everything's secure. So I had all those little things like that. And then time, you know, I just noticed that I got sick, Buster was sick, you know, those things will happen that will interfere with your time frame of getting from one place to another, and you have to be flexible, absolutely flexible with your time, you know, and because, you know, you can make your plans, but either you could have a breakdown or something could happen, and you know, just all kinds of little different, you know, obstacles or bumps. Now I was very lucky, and I'm so thankful to God that I believe in, that I had no major mechanical failures. The only thing is the little switch thing that controls my volume of air broke, or didn't work. You know, it's only a maximum that it would work, but otherwise that didn't work. And so, but that was really it as far as the mechanical thing that, you know, went on with the van. That was, you know, mostly what I had to deal with. Otherwise everything ran very well in the van, so I am so thankful for that. All right, but so the most thing I am just you know, just sum it all up, was that I am so grateful that I did this trip. I got out of my comfort zone. I got out of my fear, the fear of the unknown, the fear of what could happen. You know, you just go out there, take it day by day, you know, go as far as you can go. Some days you'll go farther than other days, especially if you have disabilities, and be flexible. But just getting out of that comfort zone. Don't let the fear rob you from getting out there and seeking after the dream. Okay, so I'm so grateful that I did that, and it built up a self-confidence in me that, you know, look what I can do when I do, you know, get out there and take the risk, you know. And I was overwhelmed with the most incredible scenery and beauty, and you know, that I can imagine to see, and I am so grateful for that. Okay, so I hope yeah, this helps other people that are wondering about doing this, to go out there, seek your dreams. All right, so I love you guys, and I'm so grateful that you went on this journey with me. And you know, I am so looking forward to when I can hit the road again and go on the next journey to Arizona and RTR, and also meeting new friends, or meeting my subscribers, or I'm just so excited for the next trip, and I hope you come along with me on that next journey. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video, and I do love you guys so much. Bye bye.